You're listening to 5-episode thriller. Dare to like this episode and subscribe if you hunger for more. Now, let the shadows begin to stir.
Title: Murder on the Ghan. A deadly plot. Episode 2. The first streaks of dawn creep through the dining car's wide windows, painting everything in shades of dusty pink and copper. It should be beautiful, a once-in-a-lifetime sunrise over the endless outback. But all I see is a stage for a killer who might be sipping coffee 3 chairs away from me. Razor is still barking into the satellite phone, throwing curses like confetti. The crewman holding the device doesn't flinch, just nods politely every so often, as though Razor's tirade about false accusations and lawsuits up your arse were the breakfast menu. Jacob hasn't said a word in 10 minutes. He just keeps tapping his fingers on the table, counting off a rhythm that makes me want to slap his hand away. Across from us, Clara stares out the window with red-rimmed eyes, her lips moving silently. I wonder if she's praying, or just rewriting the scene in her head for the inevitable memoir she publish when this is all over. Arabella is the only one who seems unchanged by the horror that's happened in our rolling prison. She sits perfectly straight, legs crossed at the ankle, hair brushed sleek, silk scarf tied like she's about to step onto a Paris runway. Her calm is infuriating. Aaron Blake. Horvath calls my name like he's reading out a grocery item. I startle so hard, Jacob reaches out to steady my elbow, but I shrug him off and stand. My legs feel rubbery as I walk to the makeshift interrogation chair. The crewman hands me the phone. It's warm from Razor's sweaty rant. I press it to my ear and hear a click. Then, a male voice, dry-clipped. Australian accent with that particular flatness that says, "This is a man who hates paperwork, and now has a mountain of it. Miss Blake, Detective Sergeant Connor Kearney, Northern Territory Police. You found the deceased." No, Jacob Lynn did. I was woken by shouting. I saw him. Then I ran to find a crew member, right? And you saw the body. Yes, his throat. It was I. Stop. The image flashes behind my eyelids. The color of the carpet, the smell of copper, and something else. Something I still can't name, but will never forget. Miss Blake. Yes, sorry. Yes, I saw the body. I didn't touch anything. There's a scratch of pen on paper. I imagine him in a tiny office, hundreds of miles away, mug of instant coffee, gone cold. Eyes, gritty, from too little sleep and too much death. Did you hear or see anyone in the corridor before or after? I heard a noise, maybe 15 minutes before, a bump. But I thought. I glance at Razor, who's prowling the edge of the dining car now, glaring at me like a dog guarding a bone. I thought it was just people being drunk. Kearney sighs the tired exhale of a man who's heard every excuse. And do you know if Mr. Shaw had any particular enemies on board? I almost laugh. Where do you want me to start, detective? Instead, I say, Lawrence Shaw made a lot of enemies. Everyone here could write you an essay on why they hated him. But kill him, I don't know. All right, Miss Blake. We'll be boarding at Alice Springs. Please don't leave the train, and don't discuss this call with the other passengers. Nearly bark a laugh at that. Don't discuss it. We're trapped in a steel tube, hurtling through the outback. What else are we going to discuss? Understood, I say, and hand the phone back. My fingers shake as they brush the crewman's hand. Jacob goes next. He shoots me a look that's half save me and half I'm sorry for dragging you into this. I wish I could tell him he didn't. That fate did, but my throat locks up. I slide into a seat by the window, next to Arabella. She doesn't glance at me. She's perfectly still, eyes fixed on the horizon, like she's meditating her way out of this car. Why do you look so calm? I ask, before I can stop myself. My voice comes out sharper than I intend. She blinks once, slow, then turns those frosty blue eyes on me. Panic is a performance, a wasteful one, in front of an audience. I nearly choke. Audience. One of us is dead. Exactly. She adjusts her scarf, eyes drifting to Razor, to Clara, to the crew bustling with quiet urgency. Do you know the difference between a writer and a survivor, Miss Blake? A writer watches the story happen to everyone else. A survivor makes sure they are never the victim. She says it like it's a proverb. Or a warning. Jacob finishes his call and practically collapses into the seat next to me. They don't believe me, he mutters. I can hear it. They're going to pin this on me. They'll check the CCTV. The corridors have cameras. He stares at me. Do they really? On this old train, I freeze. He's right. The Ghan is luxury, not high security. An antique on rails. If there are cameras, they're probably about as useful as a chocolate teapot. The train lurches. Everyone jumps. The conductor appears at the door. We're arriving at Alice Springs in 20 minutes. The police will board immediately. Please, remain seated. Razor mutters, hope they brought body bags. He grins at me when I glare. At him, what? Too soon. Jacob's hand is shaking where it grips the edge of the table. I cover it with mine before I can talk myself out of it. His eyes snap to mine, so raw, I have to look away. We have 20 minutes, I think. 20 minutes before real detectives take this out of my hands and lock one of us in a cell, unless the killer strikes again before they get here. A scream tears through the car. Not a horror movie scream. Real, ragged, tearing flesh and sanity apart in a single note. We all stand at once. Clara is gone. Arabella's face is pale marble. Razor bolts for the corridor like a bloodhound. Jacob pulls me after him. We find Clara halfway between the dining car and the lounge, on her knees, arms outstretched. Behind her, a cabin door gapes open. Inside, another body, blood smeared on the walls. A face I recognize, the young crewman, Luca. His throat a mirror of Lawrence's. Someone behind me whispers, not again. But in my head, my writer's brain screams, yes, again and again. Until one of us stops it, I grab Jacob's arm. Grip iron tight. We need to find the truth. Jacob, now. Before the killer writes us into the next chapter. The second body changes everything. If Lawrence's death was a scandal, Lucas is a declaration. Someone on this train doesn't just want revenge, or silence, or poetic justice. They want fear. They want the story to spiral, chapter by bloody chapter. And we're the pages they're tearing through. The dining car is a tomb now. All the chatter and low laughter from last night, gone, replaced by silence that hums louder than the wheels under our feet. Clara sits, wrapped in a gray blanket, rocking slightly, lips moving in that same silent prayer. Razor paces in tight circles like a caged animal, muttering curses that never fully form into sentences. Arabella watches him, calm as ever, eyes flat and sharp as cut glass. Jacob stands at the window, back stiff, fists pressed against the glass, as if he could break through it and flee across the desert. I want to touch him, just to remind us both that we're still real, but I don't. Horvath returns from conferring with the crew, his once pristine suit jacket wrinkled, hair clinging to sweat on his forehead. He raises his voice, trying for command but falling short. The police will be on board any minute. Until then, everyone stays here. No exceptions. We must preserve the crime scene, Razor barks. Bit late for that, mate. The killer's on board, walking around like it's a goddamn brunch buffet. Arabella's voice cuts through him, precise and unbothered, which is precisely Why we stay together. If we scatter, we're easier to pick off. Jacob turns from the window, his eyes are wild. Pick off. You think this is a hunt now. You think we're prey. Arabella lifts one shoulder. A writer should always know what part they play. Darling, before Jacob can answer, a distant metallic clang echoes through the car. The outer doors opening. Boots on metal steps. Muffled voices. The police have arrived. It should feel like relief. It doesn't. 2 uniformed officers and 1 man in plain clothes step in. He must be Detective Sergeant Connor Kearney. Broad shoulders, crumpled shirt. A face carved by the sun and too many lies heard at 3 a.m. His eyes sweep the room once. And in that single glance, I know he already hates us. No one moves, he says, accent a dry snap. He signals the uniforms to flank the doors, then addresses Horvath, who found the second victim. Horvath gestures at Clara, who flinches. Razor claps a hand on her shoulder, too hard, like he's staking a claim. She doesn't react, except to keep rocking, ma'am, Kearney says, voice softer now. Miss Clark, isn't it? Can you tell me exactly what you saw? Clara lifts her eyes, huge, tarrimed, unfocused. I was looking for a steward. I wanted water. I knocked, but the door wasn't closed properly. I pushed it, and he was her throat, closes around the words. Kearney nods once. Thank you, ma'am. Sit tight, constable. One of the uniforms murmurs something into his radio. Another crewman appears at the far end, ushering people out of the adjacent cabins, sealing them like a row of tombs. Kearney turns his shark eyes on us. I understand, you're all crime writers. Razor snorts. Not all of us. Some of us are hacks. Riding coattails. He flicks a mean grin at me. I don't bite. I'm too busy reading Kearney's expression. He doesn't care about our reputations. He cares about how our lies might twist under pressure. 2 murders, same method, he says. Small environment. Limited access. One of you killed Mr. Shaw. One of you killed young Luca. Or the same person killed both. Either way, no one leaves this train until I get the truth. Do I make myself clear? Arabella lifts a single, elegant eyebrow. Detective Kearney, I assure you, save it for your lawyer, ma'am. He gestures for us to stand. 1 by 1, you'll come with me. We do this properly. Anyone lies, I'll know. Anyone hides something, I'll find it. And if the killer tries again, I'll make damn sure you hang for it. Razor claps like it's theater. Beautiful speech. You practiced that in the mirror, back in Darwin, mate. Kearney ignores him. He points at Arabella first. Ma'am, with me. She gathers her coat and scarf with regal disdain, then glides out like she's off to tea at the Ritz. The car goes silent again. Jacob sinks beside me, our shoulders brushing. He whispers, so low only I can hear. What if he arrests the wrong person, Erin? What if he pins it on me? Or you? I glance at Kearney's broad back as he disappears with Arabella. Then we don't let him. We find the real killer first. Jacob barks a soft, helpless laugh. You make it sound easy. I turn to face him, my voice trembling, but my mind sharpening around the terror like a blade. It's not easy. It's necessary. Think, Jacob, who benefits from 2 murders. Why kill a crewman? Lawrence was understandable, but Luca, he was nobody, not nobody. He knew the train, he knew the staff routines. Maybe he saw something, or was bribed, or blackmailed. Jacob's fingers tap that invisible piano again. Or, what if this isn't about Lawrence at all? What if he was just practice? I stare at him. It's a horrifying thought, but it makes a sick sense. Practice for what? I whisper. Jacob's eyes flick to Clara, still rocking. To Razor, drumming his fingers on the window, bored and coiled. To the closed door, where Arabella is being interrogated. "Practice for more," he says. "Practice for all of us." I swallow, throat dry. "Then we'd better solve this, before the final chapter." He manages a ghost of a smile. "You're the crime writer, Aaron. Plot twist our way out of this." But my mind is already racing ahead to motives, hidden grudges, old secrets that never die. To the real horror, the possibility that the killer isn't just a murderer. They're an author, and this is their masterpiece. Outside, the Ghan rolls on. Inside, the game has only just begun. I always thought I'd know how to behave in a crisis. After all, my entire debut novel was about a locked room mystery. Bodies piling up, and a twist so cunning, I'd convinced myself it could only come from someone who understood fear. But here, now, in the dining car turned interrogation waiting room, all I feel is that cheap, acidic version of terror that scrapes the back of your throat raw. Jacob and I huddle at the far end of the car, pretending to sip cold coffee. Not fooling anyone. Razor watches us with his predator's grin, daring us to plot something he can blow up for his own amusement. Clara, wrapped in another blanket from the crew, stares at her lap, lips moving soundlessly as if she's confessing sins to a ghost. Arabella returns first. She's the picture of unbothered elegance, but there's a single crease marring her silk blouse, now the only sign that even she is human enough to feel the cold breath of suspicion. She glides back to her seat, ignoring Razor's snide. "So, did you charm him into letting you off, princess?" She levels him with a look that could freeze the sun. "Try not to speak, Mr. Razor. Every word reveals how very little you have to say." Razor laughs, but it sounds forced. I file that away. Every twitch matters now. Jacob's name is called next. He goes stiff as a corpse beside me. I squeeze his hand under the table, shocking both of us. He squeezes back hard, and then he's gone, pulled through that door. To stand beneath Kearney's scalpel gaze, I want to eavesdrop. Instead, I force myself to replay everything, to deaths. Both throats cut, precise, not a panicked / no sign of a fight in either cabin. So, they trusted the killer. Or they were caught asleep, unguarded. My mind flips through the roster of possible monsters. Razor, too loud and aggressive to be clever enough. But what if it's an act? Clara, the fragile poet. But wasn't she closest to Lawrence in private? Arabella, cold and controlled, who treats life like a chess match. Jacob Snow, I won't consider it, not yet. Then there's me, no alibi, and a motive as old as envy. A debut writer desperate to dethrone the king. Kearney would love that. The irony writes itself. Jacob comes back in, pale and clammy. He doesn't look at me as he sits down, only mutters. He thinks I'm lying. He's waiting for me to slip. "Did you?" I ask softly. No, but it doesn't matter. It's his word against mine, and he's got the badge. Clara is next. She rises like a paper doll, blank and drifting. Razor watches her go, tongue flicking at his teeth like a snake. "I'd put money on her," he says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Nutters always seem harmless, till they're sawing off bits of you. Arabella sighs. "Do you ever tire of the sound of your own voice?" He leans across the aisle. "Doesn't bother you, does it? Two people gutted while you sip your bloody tea. Not gutted. Their throats were cut. If you must be grotesque, be precise. They're baiting each other, but under it, I see what they're really doing. Feeling for cracks. Finding weaknesses. Everyone here is so used to words as weapons that even fear can't dull the instinct." When Clara returns, she collapses beside me, trembling so violently I worry she fracture. She clutches my wrist, nails biting deep. "He asked about Lawrence's manuscript," she hisses, breath hot against my ear. Did you know? Lawrence was rewriting the dingo's lament. He was going to out someone, said it would ruin careers, lives. He told me. Told me if he died, I should tell the police. It was all in the final draft. But it's gone, Erin, it's gone. I grab her shoulders. Slow down. Gone. How? His laptop, his notes. I saw them last night. Now they're not in his cabin. Kearney says it's coincidence, but it's not. The killer wanted it destroyed. Or has it? Razor slaps the table. Oh, this is delicious. A missing manuscript. So one of you lot killed him to keep your dirty laundry from the world. Figures. Arabella's mouth twitches the tiniest crack in her mask. Jacob leans forward, voice low and urgent. Then we find that manuscript before Kearney pins this on any of us. If it's a confession or blackmail material, it's our best shot at the truth. Razor tilts his head. And who made you, ringleader, pretty boy? Maybe you're the one who wanted it gone. Jacob snaps. If I wanted it gone, why would I be the one shouting about it now? I cut in before Razor can fire back. Enough. We don't have time to tear each other apart. If Lawrence's manuscript is missing, it's hidden somewhere on this train. And whoever has it they're the killer, or next on the list. The dining car door bangs open. Kearney steps in, his eyes sweeping over us like searchlights. He gestures to Razor. You next. Razor gives us a mocking salute before swaggering out. Kearney pauses by our table. For a moment, our eyes meet. He studies me, sees too much. Miss Blake, stay put. I'm coming for you. Last he leaves. The door snaps shut behind him. Artabeja exhales, one elegant hand pressed to her temple. Well, if we want to find that manuscript, we do it before Sergeant Bulldog returns with handcuffs for all of us. Jacob looks at me, his voice is barely a breath. You up for this? Am I? I'm not sure. But the alternative is waiting passively for a third corpse. Maybe my own. Yes, I say. We're going to find Lawrence's last story, and then we're going to finish it with the killer as the final twist. Outside, the Ghan howls across the red earth. Inside, the real hunt has begun. Chapter 7, in my book. The heroine finds the killer by piecing together stray details in a single flash of brilliance. A dropped cufflink, a misquoted poem, a bloody footprint. Too large for the suspect's shoe. Real life isn't so tidy. On the Ghan, the only clue we have is that somewhere amid 1,800 miles of track and locked compartments is a missing manuscript that could expose a murderer or get us all killed faster. As soon as Razor's laughter fades behind Kearney's interrogation door, Jacob leans in, speaking so fast he trips over the words, "We do this now." Before he finishes with Razor and drags you in next, we check Lawrence's cabin first, properly. Not just peek in the door like the constables did. Arabella checks her reflection in the dark window, but I can see her eyes flicking across the car, calculating. We can't all go at once. The uniforms will notice. Clara and I will stay here. Keep up appearances. You two go. If they stop you, say you need your luggage or fresh clothes. Something believable. Clara flinches at being spoken for, but says nothing. Her knuckles are white around her teacup. I glance at Jacob. He's already half standing, so I pushed my chair back too. The scrape echoes too loudly. The nearest constable barely lifts an eyebrow, but watches as we shuffle down the corridor. The sleeper cars feel different now. The polished brass and wood paneling suddenly menacing. Every hiss of the train brakes, every squeal of the rails underneath might mask a footstep behind us. Lawrence's cabin door is still sealed with a strip of police tape. Jacob checks over his shoulder, then peels it up just enough for us to squeeze through. Inside, the air is heavy with a sour, metallic taste. The bed is stripped bare, except for a corner darkened to rusty brown, the site of Lawrence's final breath. I swallow the bile rising in my throat. There's no time for squeamishness now. Jacob mutters, check everything, drawers, luggage. Under the mattress, he was old school, always carried a battered leather satchel for drafts. I start with the small desk, a single pen, 2 scraps of notes in his impossible, spidery hand. Ask Clara about Byron, quote, and another line I can barely read, if they knew what happened in Perth. Jacob, I whisper, holding it out. He squints at it, lips moving. Perth. He never mentioned Perth. He told me everything important happened in Sydney, maybe. That was the lie. He curses under his breath and drops to his knees, pulling Lawrence's rolling case from under the bunk. It's stuffed with wrinkled shirts and cheap socks, but no laptop, no leather folio. I open the tiny closet. Hangers rattle like bones. At the back, jammed behind a spare coat, my fingers brush paper. My pulse jumps, but when I tug it free, it's only a stained boarding pass and an old program for some literary festival in Melbourne. Nothing. Jacob hisses, slamming the suitcase shut. Where the hell did he put it? What about digital, I say, if he backed it? Up. Cloud storage, email drafts. Jacob shakes his head. He didn't trust the cloud, said the government was spying on him. God, he was so proud of that manuscript. If someone knew it would ruin them, they'd have destroyed it the first chance. They got, or he freezes. I see the idea hit him. Or hidden it in plain sight, he finishes, meaning Lawrence hated editors. He'd never let anyone read the real ending before he was sure. So maybe he didn't call it the Dingo's Lament on his laptop. Maybe he hid it under some fake file name. He did that with his memoir, called it Gardening Tips so his agent wouldn't snoop. I shove past him and flip open the desk's tiny safe, built into the wall, empty. Then I drop to the floor, feeling blindly behind the drawers for a secret slot, nothing but dust and one lone bottle cap. Jacob is pacing now, fists rapping the wall panels. We need to think like him. He always said a clue is safest where it can't be seen but must be found. What did he always have with him, even on stage? Not the laptop, not the folio. I snap my fingers, his hat. Jacob stares, the battered fedora. He never took it off, not even inside. It had that ridiculous sweatband he once bragged. He'd stitched cash into the lining back in the 80s to hide it from an ex. Jacob lunges for the overhead shelf. The hat sits there, dusty and tragic. He tears at the lining with trembling fingers. A seam pops open, and there it is, a folded sheet of paper, yellowed at the edges, but clearly newer than the hat itself. He holds it like a holy relic. We hunch over it, together. It's not the full manuscript, just a single page. A confession. To whom it may concern, should I meet an unnatural end, know that the truth of Perth and my blackmail is hidden within this train. The final version will name them all. Begin where the journey ends, and mind the silver serpent's nest. I shiver. Begin where the journey ends. Adelaide, Jacob nods, eyes wide, and silver serpent's nest. The Ghan's logo is a serpent. The platinum cars at the rear. The luxury sleeper cabins, he hid it in first class. We hear footsteps in the corridor. Jacob stuffs the paper into his pocket, just as the door bursts open. Kearney fills the frame, Razor lounging smugly behind him. Well, Kearney growls, trespassing on a sealed scene. Care to explain yourselves? My mouth opens, but Jacob's hand finds mine, steady and warm. For once, he's the calm one. Detective, he says smoothly, we were just doing what writers do best. Following the plot, And now we know exactly where the next chapter is buried. Razor snorts. Oh, this is gonna be good. Kearney's eyes narrow. Talk now. I look him dead in the eye, my fear gone, replaced by that bright, reckless spark that started all this. The need to finish the story, no matter the cost. You want your killer, detective? Then you'd better follow us. Because the final clue is hidden in first class. And I promise you, we're not the only ones hunting for it. The train rattles on through the darkness. But for the first time since Lawrence died, I feel it, a twist forming in the shadows, waiting for its big reveal. And God help whoever's written themselves into this ending, because I'm about to rewrite it. Asterisk, asterisk. End of episode 2.
If this tale left you uneasy, give it a like, share it with someone brave enough to listen alone, and subscribe to 5-Episode Thriller